Okay, it's been a while since I've done a podcast, but this is going to be one that is a continuation of the series that I've done on the Voyage of the Malecon, on my friend's sailing journey from France and now on to their final destination, which is in Montenegro, which is a small country on the Adriatic Sea adjacent to Italy. Um, I've done this in a little bit different order than I had done the prior podcasts. I've actually already talked to John and pre recorded that part of it. And we did a couple of segments there. I did one segment, which is, I don't think it's going to be all that great from a viewer's point of view. Tried to use FaceTime video and audio to actually have some video from where John is. And so the segment following my intro is going to be that video segment. So kind of bear with that. If you can't really stand watching it or listening to it, just skip on past it. There's quite a bit of echo in the audio, and the video quality from the FaceTime video is not all that great. So it does give you an idea if you kind of skip through it of what it's like there in that harbor in Montenegro. Is quite the place. And John walks around, and we pick up some images of some of the super yachts that are in there, and a little bit of narration to go along with that. And then past the video segment, that's about 10 minutes, I think, at most. We've got another segment, which is also, it's quite lengthy. It's strictly an audio segment like I've been doing previously. And it kind of recaps this last leg of the journey, leaving from Naples. Let me change this background a little bit. In fact, let me change this. Let me do a couple of things here. I'm going to get me out of the way. And so, kind of the center in this map is Naples, Italy. And they proceed from Naples down to Sicily, pick up a couple of additional passengers. And by the way, John's wife is along on this part of the journey. She had joined him. They had stopped for some repairs on the boat, left the boat in France, and they resumed this journey. And so we're going to pick this up from Naples. I travel on to Naples, go to Sicily, pick up Mel's brother and his wife in Sicily, and then they proceed to leave Sicily, which is this leg, if you're looking at the image, that proceeds to the right, if you will, or eastward across I think that's, what is that, the Ionian Sea to Albania, and that's kind of a unplanned stop. They end up stopping in Albania. They do a fuel stop there, get their legs about them, and then go on up through the Adriatic north. You can see that route takes them up somewhat north of Albania to Montenegro, which is right on the coast of the Adriatic adjacent to the boot of Italy. So when I come back, or when this comes back, it's going to be the video segment. Like I say, it may not be all that great. If you can't stand it, skip past it. And then we have the final audio segment, which is pretty good. John goes into quite a bit of detail as far as this leg of the voyage from Naples on to Montenegro. So we'll fade myself out. We'll be back in just a moment.
Okay.
All right, so where are you?
I'm in Port Montenegro, in the country of Montenegro. And it is situated just north of Albania, just south of Croatia. And you got Serbia somewhere close by, too.
And you sailed there from Sicily.
Well, I stopped in Sicily to pick up my brother-in-law and his wife. Yeah,
And then made a stop in Albania.
that's right.
And we'll cover that later.
Yeah. Okay.
And then on to Montenegro, and you went to Kotor or Cooter?
Kotor. Yeah, Kotor, which is the end of the bay, as far as you can get. Magnificent town. You ought to look it up. Have this ancient wall, nothing like the Great Wall of China, but you know, it's nestled in these very, very steep mountains. And as you can see here, to show you pictures.
Speak up a little bit.
Yeah, it's very mountainous here in Montenegro. Yeah, when the Mediterranean, some million years ago, when it filled in, this was just some valley, and it's just mountainous everywhere. It's just really beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah, and this port is unbelievable because, as you know, we've been, you know, like in Barcelona, we saw some of the largest yachts in the world. But here we have some of the most unique boats, like, for example, this 36-meter power boat, which is, I don't know, it's straight out of Batman movie. You can go 63 knots. It's got a range of something like 1,500 miles. You know, you have these boats here that they just look like hotels. And it might get a little blurry now, but I'm going to start walking because there's two sailboats I'd like you to see.
Okay.
Never seen anything like them. There's this company that has won a bunch of awards making these sailboats. One in particular, which you're going to see, is the largest sailboat in the world, of course owned by a Russian oligarch. And it was designed with a bunch of innovative designs. For example, it can sail at 30 knots, which is a tremendous speed, especially when you see how big the boat is. And as it's sailing, it has propellers that regenerate, they have generators on them to supply the entire boat. And the boat is...
Stand still for just a second.
Okay.
So that's it? They're sort of on the left?
No, that's the biggest sailboat heretofore I'd ever seen until I saw the biggest sailboat in the world. No, this is a very similar type of boat, but this is a dinghy next to the largest sailboat. So I'll stop again so you can get a view of it. So the masts, they're carbon fiber, all three of them. They rotate, and as you can see on the spreaders, there are sails that deploy automatically in between each one of those spreaders, and you can rotate the masts depending on, you know, what direction you're going and what direction the wind is going.
Rotate your camera up just slightly.
See it?
Yeah, I can't quite see the top of the mast. Oh yeah. 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 Guys, that's a goofy looking thing.
Well, just wait till you see the biggest sailboat in the world. But it's got the largest sailboat in the world, which we're about to see, has a lot of real interesting innovations in it. No one has ever seen, of course, the owners and the staff, no one's ever seen the interior of it. Obviously, I have access to the boat now because I'm docked here, so they have security guards everywhere.
So they invited you on board?
I've been trying to get, I've been trying to get on board, and no one's inviting me. Yeah, and I've even mentioned that to some of the staff here. They just laughed at me. They thought I was joking. Yeah. I told them where I'm from, and just deaf ears.
That probably did it. That probably did it right there.
But my favorite part about the largest boat, which you're about to see, is that it has depending on what they're doing, but, crew of 30, 40, right, to maintain the boat, um, for a passenger list of 12.
Okay.
So, just to give you an idea, my boat is, I can do 8 people comfortably. I have beds for 8 people. Um, but this boat it's probably wider than my boat. Well, maybe not wider than my boat is long, but it's just, these are real large boats. Um, they have a number of tenders, and on some of them they have even, like helicopters.
Oh, I see the helicopter.
Yeah, look, that helicopter doesn't even have its own garage, so that's kind of.
I mean, just out in the elements.
yeah, right. So here now is the largest sailboat in the world, right there, and you just can't get the scale. Is when you see someone on top of the mast working, which I did yesterday, you get a feel for the scale, how big this boat is. But so much of the boat is, unique, because, the only way a company can build a boat like this is to have an oligarch or a state with the kind of money that he has to have it built, because, just to maintain the boat is, tens of millions a month. It's just unbelievable.
How much do you think that boat cost originally?
Well, it's not the most expensive by a long shot, but what I read, it's probably only around 200 million.
Okay.
Abramovich has.
They were saying yesterday they had impounded Putin's yacht. It is worth 700 million.
Yeah, that's chump change for him. But the maintenance on these boats is what's expensive, and you see some guys on board there, and you get a good feel for the size of it. I mean, you see these port windows here, so this whole side opens up.
How long is this thing, John? It seems.
8th mile? I don't know. You'd have to look that up.
It doesn't even look real.
Yeah, the scale is such that it's like if you've ever been to the Vatican, the scale is just beyond the proportion of. Yeah. When you're looking at it, you're looking at the winches and you're looking at the mast. It's just unbelievable, and it's supposed to be kind of an eco-friendly green yacht, if you can believe that.
Okay.
I mean,
well,
to even use that.
I guess it's a sailboat, so.
Right. Oh, it's got engines. It's got big engines in it. And the lithium batteries that are on board. I mean, the mining operation just for these lithium batteries is just unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean,
point your phone back towards the bow and raise up a little bit. Yeah, that's a good view.
Yeah. So.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, I don't know who those guys are, but maybe I'll ask them if I can go on board.
I'm pretty sure they're going to invite. Now, this would be something to get this on a podcast. John's tour of the super yacht. How's your Russian? Do you speak it very well? Do you speak Russian very well?
До свидания, which is that's from a movie or something. Yeah. So the lines.
Oh, let's see the bow. What's on the stern? The black what?
Pearl. Black pearl.
That's got a British flag of some sort on it.
Well, Joe, all these big boats have Georgetown or most of them have Georgetown. The only reason for that is tax purposes. They pay no taxes.
Yeah.
So they're not. I mean, Olegi, I think was his. You can look it up what the owner's name is. I believe he died this year.
Georgetown, Guyana? Is that where that is? Guyana? Or no?
Nice place.
Huh?
Register.
Where?
No, it's.
Oh, it's not Guyana.
Well, I don't know if that one is Georgetown, but
No, it's some African nation, I think. They register the boats to hide them.
yeah.
So where is this Batman boat?
Oh, did I not show it to you?
No, we didn't see the Batman, the
Oh,
Bat
okay.
boat.
Oh, just real quick on this marina.
Yeah.
I'll get a better picture of it. This
Absolutely.
marina was built back when this area was Yugoslavia.
Uh-huh.
And this, because when I got up and when I'm walking around these piers, they're just industrial. It's just, industrial size. And the harbor here is very deep, which is not common because my sailboat draws 2.1 meters. So, I can't pull into just anywhere. But this was a submarine base
Uh-huh.
back when Yugoslavia was Yugoslavia and the Soviet Union was still around. So there's quite a bit of draft here. That's the depth. Here, I'll just give you a shot in between some boats of the Batmobile Boat. See if you can see it. But it's just, as far as the beauty of a beautiful sailboat or boat,
Uh-huh.
that one doesn't. See that?
Yeah, that's horrible.
Yeah, there's no soft lines on that
It
thing.
looks like a F-117 stealth fighter.
Yeah, that's right. Like it's made to evade radar, right?
Is it? Is that what they intend, or they just made it to be ugly as shit?
I think the latter rather than the former, for sure. I'm gonna go walk around. Yeah, there's some very odd-looking boats here, but this Port Montenegro was a brainchild of some Canadian gold magnate guy.
Uh-huh.
And he dumped a bunch of money, and I can tell you, just walking around here, he must have had a lot of money to dump because the landscaping alone has got to be, just millions of dollars. It's just, the place is absolutely stunning.
Uh-huh.
And it's, absolutely beautiful here. Best services, great bathrooms. It's wonderful. But I have a feeling it's kind of a Disneyland,
Yeah.
There's just so much money pouring in from, as I walk around, I'm listening to so many Russians speaking. I see these couples
Mm-hmm.
with children, and to a one, there's always a nanny with the babies,
Okay.
So it's just it's an interesting paradigm that's going on here with the influx of crazy money. This place is really the most expensive. So just to give you an idea, I have berthed my boat now in a number of different countries, and €20 a night, show up, and that's with electricity, water, 20 to 50 euros. So that's a pretty good deal. Here, for the month, €1,700.
Wow.
Yeah, quite a bit different. And they charge you for water and electricity. Of course, this level of service is phenomenal. I can make a phone call and, get anything I need. So I'm going to have a guy check my boat because I'm going to be leaving here this week, going back to the States, and I'm going to have a guy check the boat every 3 or 4 weeks, air it out. I won't go into the systems, but he'll be maintaining the systems, and I also have remote monitoring for the health of my batteries and like that.
Okay.
But yeah.
Oh, excuse me. Oh, okay. So We got more, or should we terminate this part of it?
Yeah, I think we can terminate this part of it.
Okay,
Yeah.
John. Okay, so I got John Babo on the phone, and we're going to talk a little bit now about the this final leg of the Voyage of the Malecon. We're going to start from Naples, which is right almost in the center of this map that's I've got on the screen. And from there on down to Sicily, then across to Albania, and then up finally to Montenegro, where John is currently. So anyway, John, so leaving Naples, how was that? They got
Yeah.
some music
So,
in the back, some kind of music in the background, or cats howling. What is that?
That's
Is that somebody singing or the cats hanging, howling?
yeah. Well, it is.
It is
Yeah. So
what? Cats are singing.
both. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So anyway, leaving Naples, moving right along.
Oh, speaking of singing, when we pulled into Albania, I got to tell you, they had karaoke going, and it was Elvis all night.
Did you sing a lot of Elvis?
Perfect. No, but let's back up. So
You didn't?
Mel- I wanted to. My crew was going to mute me if I did it, though.
Melanie probably smacked you if you did.
No, she's proud of my Elvis prowess.
I
No,
see.
so we were. I just got to tell you this. This is funny. I mean, and this is part and parcel of the way we've been traveling, right? So
Uh-huh.
I didn't plan on stopping in Naples. But
Okay.
Melanie and I, we pulled in and couldn't get anyone on the horn at all. Channel 16, Channel 71, which what they said it was supposed to. I found the place on the internet and called them, nothing. So I said, screw it, I'm just pulling in. So Melanie, she's much more of a rule follower than I am, and she was very worried that we're pulling into this very, very tight harbor, and it's like in downtown Napoli. It's amazing. It was crowded with boats and very tight, and there's restaurants right on the pier.
Yeah.
So we pull in, and here's my boat, which is quite large compared to the other boats there. And they just came out with a dinghy and met us, and they jumped in a powerboat, moved a powerboat, and I just, it's okay, you can move here and back in. So, we did. And I said, I let's just go for a walk. And she wanted to be on solid land. So we were actually on a tiny little island with, it was where a castle was, and they had this long bridge, walking bridge. And I say long, it's maybe 100 yards, right?
Uh-huh.
To the mainland of Napoli, and crossing the bridge. And I looked to the distance, and I said to Melanie, "Is that a volcano?" Because it looked like a painting of a volcano. It was too perfect, right? And this is probably a testament to my terrible geography, too, being a product of the American education system. And she said, "No, I don't think there are any volcanoes around here." Well, it turned out it was Mount Vesuvius.
Yeah, you guys posted a picture of that, I think.
Yeah.
Somebody
but,
did. It looked like a painting more than a real volcano.
Right. Well, it was Mount Vesuvius. And anyway, that was kind of funny. We spent a little time there in Napoli, and couldn't spend a lot of time because her brother and his wife were going to meet us in Sicily. So,
Okay.
we had to sail to Sicily. So we took off from Napoli, and we're sailing towards Sicily. And there was this other island. I don't know if I sent you the pictures, but I'm taking a picture. I was like, hey, look, another volcano. So I'm taking a picture. A brown puff of smoke comes out of the top, and I here I am thinking,
Like a big cigar ring.
well, yeah, but it was brown. It wasn't like steam, or it couldn't be confused for fog or anything. It's like I'm thinking, oh, Jesus Christ, this volcano is going to blow right when I'm crossing the Sicily. Anyway, I looked it up, and it is it's an active volcano, and it was, I think, the number one visited active volcano in the world. Again, something I didn't even know about.
Okay.
And they have a town right at the base of this volcano. And as a matter of fact, the whole little island is just this volcano. Very, very interesting. This is on the way to Sicily. So to get to where Tim and Don were going to be, we had to cross the straits in between Sicily and mainland Italy.
Yeah, and I've got this
And
up, and you can see even from the route map that it's pretty narrow.
yeah, narrow. And, we had made really, really good time. I planned to get there like at dawn, but it was, pitch dark. We were there too soon, and it's like, well, I'm not going to wait around, so I'm going to go ahead and traverse it. Well, you're traversing a major shipping channel with huge barges going back and forth. So you need to know the what's called the separation scheme to know where you can and cannot be. And I didn't want to get too close to the shore, so it really put the onus for me to rely on my charts, radar, and depth sounder.
Uh-huh.
So and I'm watching. It's like, okay, there's a big ship behind me. Because I can see its lights, and I look at my chart plotter, and the AIS tells me that it's only 400 feet long, and he's only doing 7 knots. Okay, that's not a problem. I'm doing 6.9. He's
Mm-hmm.
not going to catch me.
Okay.
Well, I wasn't really paying attention to him because I'm really worried about what's in front of me, making sure that I'm, going to get through this. I just want to get through this. It's like 30 miles or less than that. I just want to get through it as quick as possible. Well, he
And
turned up
this is
the
nighttime,
engines.
right? This is night.
It dark, very dark.
Very
Yeah,
dark.
and it was overcast, so I didn't get a lot of light from the sky. But you can see the shore on both sides, and there are lights. And next thing I know, this guy's coming up my fantail. That's the rear of the boat. He was doing 30 knots.
30
And
knots.
yeah. So I was kind of like on the right side of the direction I was supposed to be going. So of course I pulled off, and I'm getting closer to shore, which I don't want to get too close because I don't know how accurate all my charts are. So I just want to keep away from this guy. And so he goes by, and I was like, oh, okay, that was a near miss, sort of, not really,
Not
but
really,
it's
but
just yeah. But
you're make you think about it
you're
anyway, probably.
you're 4,000 miles away from home. You're in a foreign land, foreign country, foreign waters, and it's narrow and it's dangerous. Okay,
Volcanoes are
so
erupting all around you.
yeah, and I got my head on a swivel, but I'm also watching my radar, and yeah, right, and volcanoes. Yeah, you got to worry about everything. So I'm looking at my radar, and it says there's a ship right behind me, and I pull up the AIS, and it says something. It's like 900 feet long, and I was like, well, and I turn around, and I look, and I'm looking, and I don't see a boat. I'm looking, and sure enough, my radar shows me an echo,
Uh-huh.
and my chart plotter says there's a boat right there, and I'm thinking that must be wrong because I'm looking. I see nothing, right? And I just see the backdrop of the lights on the shore behind me and to my port side, and then the lights start to go blank because this huge freighter is blocking out the lights. I didn't even see it. And it's like the only reason he was there is
It
because it
had
was
no
blocking out the
lights.
lights.
There were no lights
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the.
he had a light, but it was like a 40-watt bulb,
Oh,
on the bow, which was 80 feet up. And and he goes by me, and there are no lights on at all except for he had a bow light, and I was livid. It was ridiculous. So, the take home there is you got to trust your equipment because not everyone's going to have good lighting on board.
adequate lighting.
Cruise ships, there'll be 1,000-foot cruise ship, but they're like the sun rising because these guys have lights on
Yeah,
everywhere,
yeah.
so you can see them. Anyway, so we made it through there fine. We get into Sicily, park the boat, and then the next day, Tim and Don arrived, and we really don't have very much time because I can't be in the EU for very much longer,
Right.
or else I'm going to get fined and all kinds of other stuff, right? So I got to get out of the EU, and so they get on the boat. And, I apologized to him because I wanted to give him a little time to acclimate to sea life, get their sea legs. But it's like, we got to go now and get out of Italian waters. So EU water. So I had to actually check out through customs. That was a joke in Sicily. But, we checked out. So we got stamped out of the EU, and we're headed to a non-EU country, and we plan on going to Montenegro, where I am now.
Right.
But about, I don't know, let's say 6 hours into the voyage, it's really heavy seas, and it's supposed to be, I had like 5 different grid files I had downloaded, and 12 to 15 knots was going to be maximum.
Are
Well,
you under sail or power or both?
yeah, no, we're under sail, but we're
Strictly under
hitting
sail right
35 knots and heavy seas,
now. Okay.
and it was real rough. So Tim gets sick, then Don gets sick, and this is through the night. And then Melanie starts getting kind of queasy too, because when the vomit starts flowing, it's it's like a sympathetic reflex.
Oh my goodness, that
A lot of
smell,
people,
the smell goes up
yeah,
and
it's
the fear,
fantastic.
the smell of fear goes up and then it multiplies.
Yeah, right. It's like, yeah, keep your eyes on the horizon, people. So they they uh, they can't even go down below, so they're up in the cockpit, and it's making it a little bit difficult for me because it's harder for me to trim my sails, and it's real bad weather. So it's 5 a.m. and I hear the search and rescue fixed wing aircraft calling for another boat, because there's a boat in distress, and he's calling, and finally he clearly hails back. Now I can hear the fixed wing aircraft on my VHF channel 16, which I'm monitoring at all times. It's a distress channel, but I cannot hear the boat. Maybe because he's only transmitting at 1 watt. I don't know, but line of sight isn't that far, so I can't hear the boat. So I'm hearing one
Just
conversation, one side of the conversation.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
airborne side of it.
yeah. So one side of the conversation, and it turns out it's a vessel in distress, and they're trying to drop water to them. And that was like at 5 a.m. And this is like unfolding for the next 12 hours. I get to listen to this, and I hear this guy had an Australian accent on the fixed wing aircraft. Then I hear an American come on from a Coast Guard vessel, and he's in a helicopter, and he's providing a whole lot more information as he's speaking to them, and he's running low on fuel, so he calls for this is now a Coast Guard vessel from the Italian Navy, and he gives them the information, and he says it's a U.S. documented vessel, it's flying U.S. flag, it's a 17-meter sailboat. So my sailboat is 15 meters, so about 50 feet. This boat is 55 feet.
Oh, the boat
It's
in
in distress.
distress was flying a U.S. flag?
Yeah, yeah. And
Interesting.
in my logbook, I wrote down the name of it. I can't remember the name now. So it's a U.S. flagged sailboat, pleasure craft like mine, about 5 feet longer than mine. And the helicopter pilot says 17-meter boat. They are out of water, they're out of food, and they have no fuel. And apparently, no one who can skipper the boat. Maybe the skipper left on a skiff or dinghy. And then this one caught my attention and my sick crew. And then he said there are 200 souls on board. So you have a 17-meter boat. I mean, you do the math. I was kind of doing I just couldn't believe it.
Is this kind of standing room only?
Right. You can't even. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, they're going to be stacked on top of each other.
How would you get
And
that many people in a sailboat? Maybe they're on the top of it and everywhere else, and
they're on each other
hanging off
too.
the rigging.
Yeah, I did a little research, and they overload these boats. So, and typically they're coming from Libya.
So this was a refugee boat coming out of Libya, you think, probably?
Yeah, that's right. But what got to me was there were women and children on board, and pregnant women on board.
And no food and water for the last 15 hours or whatever it was.
Yeah. So
and no captain on the boat.
Right, and the weather was horrible. So we listened to this unfold, and Libya radio comes on board, and we can hear them on the VHF. And then there was a man overboard. And then the Italian Navy got involved, and for about 5 hours, the Italian Navy was looking for the guy that went overboard, and then they called it off. It's like, yeah, we'll see if we can help the rest of the crew. They couldn't find the man overboard.
Yeah.
So listening to one
Terrible.
side, it was just horrible. And then Libya radio, then this is like 12 hours later, calls a mayday on the radio for any vessels in the vicinity, and then they gave the location for where the boat was, and I charted it out, and it was about 169 nautical miles south of our location that we were at the
Where
time.
you were, yeah.
And by the way, Libya radio got on, called a boat that was something like 60 miles, 30 to 60 miles. I can't recall, but it was within a day's sail, called them specifically and told them to go assist. So they had to change their course and go assist this boat with 200 souls on board. And then the mayday came out. So I looked 169 miles south. So that could be 1 to 2 days sail for me. I'm by myself. I'm handling the boat alone because I've got two very sick crew who are inexperienced sailors, and my wife now is getting sick, and the weather is rough. I mean, I sent a quick clip of my boat going through the waves, and boy, it's just like wave, and then next thing you know, you're looking at sky and then waves. It was real rough. So it was, I don't want to say it was an existential crisis for me, but when it came right down to it, it was like, good Lord, I've been up for a long time. My crew is not really fit to do anything. There's not a whole lot I could do at this point. And so they ended up calling off that other boat. So irrespective, I wouldn't have made any difference except been out to sea even longer.
Sure.
But even so we were headed to Montenegro, and Melanie came up above, and she said, "John, I don't think I can do another night of this because it was rough." And she was starting to get sick. I don't know if she got sick enough that she was vomiting, but she was feeling really bad. But poor Tim, oh my God, he was bad. He was a trooper though. He was real positive about his level of vomit. But man, he was in bad shape. And Dawn too, but she was more private about her vomiting. Anyway, so I said, okay, let's. Instead of going all the way to Montenegro, let's pull into Albania. So Albania, we pull in Albania, and to pull in Albania, you need to have an agent that walks you through the procedure, and that's a requirement. Because that's just how it is. And it was a very interesting situation. So we pulled into this port, and it was not really meant for sailboats. As a matter of fact, there's only one port in the whole country of Albania that was recently built by Italians to try to bring tourists to the country of Albania. And it doesn't even have a fuel dock there, so I have no use going there. I was running low on fuel, so I need fuel, and they said, "Oh yeah, we have fuel. Come on down." Oh, okay.
So John, I just changed my background to show you at that picture you sent me with your representative and with the fireman and the fueling operation going on. So yeah.
So that was the next day. So we got there at night. I had to drop anchor because there was no safe way to tie up there. So I had to be at a 90-degree angle from the dock. I had to drop anchor, yank my anchor until it was tight, then slowly draw out more chain until I was within, let's say, 3 meters of the rear of the boat to the dock, and then tie up to the dock really, really tight. So I didn't hit the dock because the dock was super tall and concrete, very, very unsafe. So these officials came over, and honestly, because I'm coming into a foreign country, so I got to go through the whole process. And I got my agent there who is there to help me.
Mm-hmm.
And as a matter of fact, I guess he's the only agent in Albania, and it's like sail Albania. It's like sail the Soviet Union. No one wants to really do that, and believe me, you don't want to go there. But he posted on his Facebook page, Malecon. It's like, come on, people, look at this nice yacht in Albania. Come on down, you'll have a great time. But these officials, in with weapons, are and the one guy in charge, he's talking to me in a way. It's like, am I in trouble here? I couldn't figure it out because he and I think in a way to make me feel comfortable. I don't know. He said, if you were Italian, you would only be allowed 90 days, but you're American, so 6 months, and that's it. Then you have to go.
So you probably felt a lot better about being able to stay there 6 months, huh?
Yeah. Well, I later found out why Americans have such great treatment there. Anyway, the next day, everyone on board, they had enough time to feel better, but they all wanted out. It's like, look, let's get out of here. Okay, so I get my agent, and he told me I was going to be able to fuel up. I don't see any fuel dock except for this one very sketchy fueling station that was in the middle of the bay.
Uh-huh.
And it was like this rickety, wooden structure that looked like it was 10 feet by 10 feet with this weird looking spigot in the middle of it. And it's even on the charts, it says fueling station. And I was like, am I going to have to freaking go out there and moor up to this weird thing in the middle of the, because this is crazy. It turns out, he's like, no, I bring truck with fuel. It's like, okay, great. But you must pay in kook or leak. That's right.
Leaks?
Only cash. We don't leaks. Yeah, we don't take cards. Like, oh, great.
Okay.
All right.
So did you have a bunch of leaks in your pocket?
Well, here's the thing. So he had to take me into town. I hadn't even, he's still doing the customs stuff, and I hadn't cleared. But he just says, okay, you come with me. Oh, no. Okay, you come with me. And so we walked through the customs. You've all been through customs in an airport, right? You stand in lines. You have all these checkpoints, and they had all that, but there was no lines. There were people that were working there, but there was no people. There was just me. And it was a brand new customs building because they're planning someday people are going to visit this country. Okay. I let him know it's got a little work to do. But anyway, we go through customs and we get in this old car, and he drives me to an ATM. And I'm telling you, it's very sketchy because it's, it's a former Soviet enclave. It was not pretty looking. What was interesting, my agent, and I said, what was that all about? The 90 days, 6 month thing for American, only 90 for Italians. Apparently they don't like Italians. It's like, your President Woodrow Wilson, best president in the world. It's like, oh, okay.
That's a little dated, isn't it?
Right. Well, the whole country's dated, Joe. If you go there, you'll see what I mean. It's like it's frozen in time. Not Yugoslavia. Albania has always been kind of an interesting place. Well, it turns out during the Paris Peace Accords in 1922 or whenever they started after World War One, the whole region was going to divide up Albania. Everyone was going to take their piece of Albania, and there was going to be no Albania. Had it not been for Woodrow Wilson, the president at the time, he nixed it. On his own, he said, no, Albania is going to be an independent country. And so it was, because of one man, the president of the United States. So they're appreciative of that. So if you want, you can stay there for 6 months instead of 90 days.
Wow. That sounds like a big plus.
So anyway, he gets me to this ATM. And, I've been taking euros out of different countries, and depending on where I am, what country I am in, sometimes I can only get 300 euros out. The max I've ever been able to take was 500 euros, and I'm really low on fuel. And my boat, I could probably put 1,600 euros worth of money, but they've already told me, the fuel guy who came over and my agent, that since Putin started with this mess in Ukraine, the price per liter of fuel has gone up something like 60%. And he's like, it's unbelievable how expensive it is. And I'm thinking, holy crap, because he said, how much do you need? And I said, I'm going to need at least 600 liters of fuel. So, and they won't give me a price. So I'm just thinking it's going to cost me, thousands of dollars to fill up. But the thing is, I'm going to an ATM. I can only get cash. I can only get $300 to $500 or euro equivalent, right? So I get to this ATM and I stick my card in, and it doesn't recognize my card as an American. It gives me the Albanian language with and I've never seen an ATM like this, but the screen shows like a pie chart, and it shows numbers from 500 leak to 30,000 leak, right?
Okay.
And it's like in a pie chart, and you can select which pie you want. It's like, well, I'm going to need the maximum, and I don't know how much 30,000 leak is. I don't know if it's 5 cents or $500, right? But the whole time I got my head on a swivel because we're in a bad part of town, or maybe that's what the towns look like. A lot of rubble around, a lot of just, it's just I'm not familiar with where I am. I'm not going to be taken. So I put the card in. I got my head on a swivel. I pressed the 30,000, right? And sure enough, 30,000 come out, and I put it in my pocket. And I was like, yeah, maybe I only took out a little bit. So I put my card back in and head on a swivel, press the 30,000. 30,000 came out again. So I did that a number of times until I was there for too long, and I'm thinking, and now people are like looking at me and waiting, and it's like, I either have enough to, buy 5 gallons or buy an estate there. I don't know, but I'm thinking, I can only take three or 500 out. So we get back to the boat, and the truck shows up, the fuel truck. Well, the fuel truck is the size of it looks like a golf cart with like a barrel behind it. A large.
Unfortunately, you don't have the fuel truck in this picture. I can see the hose coming from it.
Oh, it was hilarious. And then the guy says to me, only 300 liter. You can't, there's no more. It's like, okay, great. So I put the nozzle in there. I look at the guy, and the truck's not marked, and the jug, nothing's marked. And this guy shows up. It looks like he's got a real red nose. Looks like he's been drinking his whole life. And I was like, I'm looking at the guy, and then my agent said, "This is equivalent to fire marshal."
So this is the guy in the black.
Yeah.
Like he has a little black jacket
He shows
on.
up in an old Mercedes, right? And he's just standing there wearing like a polo shirt and slacks and no, I don't recall if he had slack. I mean, like he's some drunk going to go golfing. I don't see any fire gear. I don't see a fire extinguisher, but the fire marshal has to be standing guard.
I see.
I mean,
Okay, that seems safe.
I guess he was, yeah, his polo was, it was, I don't know. Anyway,
I
so
see
I
the guy
put the
over there.
nozzle.
There's a guy there with the white gloves on, it looks like. That's the fuel guy,
Yeah.
right?
So he just hands. I thought he was gonna fuel up for me. He hands it to me. It's like, oh, I guess I got to fuel up. And, I don't have any gloves on. And as I stick it in there, I look at him, and there's nothing marked anywhere. I said, "This is D." Yeah, okay. It's the best diesel. Yeah, I don't know what that means. So I went ahead and put 300 liters in and paid him whatever the amount was. And I just want to get these transactions done. I want to get the boat out of there, and I want to get over to Montenegro. And then when we left, and I got a cell signal, I still have about 100,000 leak in my pocket. And as I did them. I got more than that. I got about $400 or $500 worth of leaks in my pocket, and I have no idea how I was able to take that much money out. Because my bank, the bank card that I had, it just won't allow it. But I was able to take well over $1,000 out of my account through this Albanian thing. So now I'm stuck with all these leaks, and we get to Montenegro, and you've probably seen some of the video and some of the pictures I've taken,
Yep.
where the largest sailboat in the world's here.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it is the most, without a doubt, the most beautiful marina I've ever been to. It's an ex-submarine
Yeah, let me
facility when it
change
was
that picture.
Yugoslavia.
I've got a picture of that here. I want to put that up.
So we have this. We go to this restaurant, and they've got cabinets filled with wagyu beef that you can select, and it's just unreal. Say, hey, is you have a bank around here? I can change some Albanian money. And the guy looks at me, Albanian? He's like, yeah, bank down way. Okay. So I went down and went to the bank. And I was like, yeah, I want to exchange some money. She said, oh, okay. And I pull out this huge wad of a gazillion, bazillion Albanian leaks. And she's like, oh, no, we don't exchange those here. And I said, well, where can I exchange them? And she laughed at me and said, nowhere.
Nowhere. Oh my
It's
goodness.
like monopoly money, apparently. So, yeah, I don't know. So I've got a gazillion, bazillion Albanian links. I guess
So,
I'd have to go back to Albania if I want to use them.
did you figure out what the exchange rate was to dollars, or is there one?
Yeah, it's 0.008.
Point
Point
zero
zero.
zero eight leaks to the dollar,
That's right. Yeah,
or dollars to the
yeah,
leak. Yeah, $0.008 to the leak, I suppose.
yeah. Oh, right. Yeah,
Yeah. Well,
you need a lot of leaks to get $1. Yeah,
yeah, you need a
yeah,
wheelbarrow to carry your
yeah,
leaks around
yeah,
with you,
yeah, yeah.
something like that.
Absolutely. But
So,
this Port Montenegro, you should look it up. It's interesting place because I'm walking around, and at one point I'm like, this isn't real. It's like Disneyland. It's like everything is so beautiful. I mean,
oh, John,
they
I've got
have
a picture, background picture I had found of that port at twilight or at dusk
uh-huh.
that looks out over the bay, looks out over the marina. You can see the low hills in the background. You can see the sun setting off in the distance.
I don't think I sent you this, but
No,
coming
you
into
didn't. You didn't send this one. I found this one
oh
somewhere.
no, I have a bunch more that I haven't sent you. But here's another thing. So coming into this port,
Uh
you
huh.
know, we're going through. I mean, it's like the canyons. It's like you're in a, I don't know, like maybe Snake River Canyon or Grand. You just have mountains on either side, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you come up to, you'll just see this cave with this rock work, and it's like, what the hell? They built a cave into the side of a tunnel, right? And it's been rocked up. It's got beautiful masonry, and you see these just built into the side of. And it's like, as we're coming here, I didn't know this was a submarine facility during the Soviet era,
Mm-hmm.
but that's where they would store their submarines. They would just dig into the side of the cave and build these, essentially look like the Bat Cave harbors for these submarines. Really, really interesting. So much so I wanted to, anchor and then take my dinghy and go in there and check them out. But I need to, check with the officials because you don't want to get a foul of the law around here.
Now, speaking of those mountains and stuff you're talking about, I got another view here, another picture I had found. There's snow on mountains behind that harbor. Is that possible?
Yep, that's it. Yeah, and because I asked the guy, they gave me a map and it showed ski resorts, and I said, so could I go skiing here? And it's like, oh yes, you may go now, but maybe check weather.
Is
It's
there
May,
snow
so
on those mountains now?
yeah.
This late in the
In some,
season?
yeah, in some of the tops of the peaks, you can see snow. Yeah,
Wow.
crazy. Now this area here in Montenegro, where I am right now, gets very, very hot during the season.
Uh huh.
I mean, like 105, 110 hot, really hot. So I'm just now leaving, and the season is just beginning.
I see.
So all the places I've been to,
Season, as
it's
in
been wet.
tourist, you're calling that tourist season, or what? What kind of season?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's tourists, and there are a lot of condominiums right here on the water.
Hmm.
Um, so it appears to me it's like I don't know, like a sort of like a Monaco or maybe even a Venice Beach or something, or just
You know,
tons of.
that came to mind when we were talking about it, on the other call. It sort of seems like it's a much larger setup than Monaco, but it's kind of geared for the wealthy and, whatever. Very
Oh, absolutely,
upscale, very, very upscale.
very, very
Seem like
much
they're
so.
trying to make it a Monaco Plus or something. The Monaco is so
Yeah.
physically small. There's nothing they can do with it because I mean you've been there, right? It's so freaking
No,
small.
no, Joe,
You can only
I
go
haven't.
up. There's nowhere to go. It's just a tiny little
Right,
bay.
right, and
Here they've got all kinds of room for expansion.
oh my gosh, I mean, it's the size of a city. This marina facility, and there's tons and tons of restaurants. The shopping. You got Hugo Boss, Rolex, Omega. As far as watches, all kinds of jewelry. But it's oh, back to the landscaping. So there's these clay Italian pots everywhere, and I mean the whole place is littered with them.
Hmm.
But for example, there'll be a 1,000-year-old olive tree in a pot, and I only know that because I was in olive country and saw these, on hillsides.
Hmm.
So one of the locals had took us on a motorcycle tour, and we went to some olive growing orchards, and these trees are amazing, and because they've been cultivating the olive here for thousands of years, and you see them in pots here. It's just unbelievable, and they're everywhere. There's it's just
I,
yeah,
I
to
love everything you're
the
saying. It seems like I
yeah,
was
it's
not aware of it. I would have thought that would be a third world kind of an area, but obviously it is not
no, but it's
majorly developed.
Joe, it's super if you're like me and like to watch people and personalities and how they move in their spaces. There's I have a feeling that there's so much new money, and I think not just new money, but because the Soviet Union hasn't been gone for that long,
Hmm.
um, and if even if you go to Berlin today and you look at the bifurcation of the East and West, it's the remnants are still there.
Still
The
obvious, yes.
it is because the day before the wall went down on the east side, they were you were someone if you were driving a Lada, right? Which to us is the most ridiculous car on earth. It's worthless, right?
Wartburg. They have those Wartburg cars or Wartburgs, whatever they call them. They're made out of wood.
Right.
Did you know that?
No, I did not
They
know
were
that.
made out of pressed wood. The bodies were made out of some kind of. They weren't made out of
Well,
metal.
I hope you didn't get that thing wet. That wouldn't work.
I think they were painted with something. But anyway, that's another topic. Hey, I got one more thing here, and I
Yeah,
got that Batmobile looking boat. I got the picture you sent me yesterday of the Batmobile
yeah,
boat. This is that full view of the side of the boat,
yeah.
front to back.
Crazy. That's a crazy boat. So that's 36 meters long, right? Just to give you an idea how long it is. It's a big boat. It is so rectilinear, right? So I mean, it looks like the stealth fighter. Um, it has it has let's see the cruising at 45 knots, top speed around 63 knots, has a range of 1,500 nautical miles
Is
for a
it
fast boat. That's
is it used for
what's that?
smuggling? Do you think?
Well, it sure could be
Huh?
because there's not many Coast Guard boats that could keep up with that thing.
Why would you want a thing like that? Help me understand that, man.
Joe, because you have more money than sense,
Well,
right?
okay, you tell me it gets really, really hot there. Now, what do you think it's
Yeah.
like on the deck of that boat on a 100-degree day with the sun
Well, they
streaming
got air
down on that
conditioners.
dull looking black?
They got
Yeah.
to
No, no, the
they got to have air.
outside of it. What do you think the outside
Oh,
temperature or
good
the
Lord.
skin temperature would be? Would you think you'd be wanting to lay out there in the sun, out there on the bow of that
Oh,
boat and get a
yeah,
little
right.
suntan or
No,
something?
thank you. No, no, absolutely not. Again, it's just one of those things like the previous boat I showed you, the largest sailboat in the world. The only reason and the only kind of person, well, it's either you're a state or you're an oligarch, which, this is the only people who can afford something like that. And then, or have the money to have it built and then maintain it.
Do you
It's
think
because you
this
can.
this bat boat is that like an oligarch's boat, or who do you think owns that freaking thing?
Well, you know what? I'll look that up. I can find out. Thank you.
It'd be interesting to know. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
is there any chance it could be military or something like that, or do you think it's
No,
privately owned?
no, it's definitely privately owned.
Definitely privately owned. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a very curious setup.
Yeah, it's a private boat. It's got a yeah. I looked up the name when I first got here because man, I've never seen anything like it. I mean, it was just so out there. It was Batmobile kind of thing you'd see on a movie. Like, oh yeah, that's ridiculous. But
I,
there it is.
I just changed pictures that I found that I think on Mel's Facebook. It shows that largest boat that we did in the video segment.
This
It's a
largest sailboat. Yeah.
it's a vertical. Unfortunately, it was a vertical format photograph, so it doesn't project very well. But you're standing in front of it, holding up your finger and pointing at the boat. Do you remember doing that along the way somewhere?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I sent another picture that had a man on the mast, so
You know,
gave you scale of the boat.
those masts remind me of an electrical distribution system, like a high lines. When you see the big high lines going over, the tops of mountains and things like that, it's almost like they
Yeah.
look more like a power distribution system
Well,
than a
here's what I don't
mast for a
understand.
sail.
I would love to know the engineering of how this mast was built because they are enormously tall, right? And they have lots of sail area. I mean, the amount of sail area is just ridiculous. There are no stays on those masts.
Hmm.
So the only thing is supporting the mast is the insertion point, wherever that is, and how deep it goes, I don't know. But every mast on every sailboat you have spreaders, and then you have forward stay, rear stays, and side stays to maintain to hold the mast. And if you were to lose, let's say, the forward stay,
Hmm.
and you have your sails up, the mast is coming down. It's going to come down, whether it's deck stepped or not. It's coming down.
The other
And
thing
here
I'm
this
seeing in this picture, if you look at each one of the vertical masts, it looks like there's a track inside of it that allows you to run whatever the horizontal members are called. Looks like it allows you to raise and lower those. It's like a
so
track on the inside of the vertical member.
of the main mast.
Yeah, it's like you can raise and what do you call those? The cross members, the hold the sails themselves. What are those called?
Those are spreaders.
Okay,
So the
it looks
way
like
the
you can raise those spreaders up and down, perhaps by a powered
no,
system of some
no, no,
sort.
no,
No,
no.
you think
So
they're
so
fixed?
no, I no. The entire mast rotates. So
Okay.
here's what that groove is. The sails come out of that groove and then go left, deploy left port and starboard, left and right along the
Oh,
spreaders. So each,
oh,
yeah, top and bottom. So there's if you were to look at it, so there's a very top spreader and then the second spreader. There's a set of sails that goes left and right,
Well,
and then
where
the
is the
next.
sails stored right now? Because there are no sails
It's
displayed.
no, it's there. It's rolled into the mast. So they come out of that slit and they're unfurled. They go left
Oh,
and right.
oh, I see. The sail comes out of that thing I'm calling a track. It's
That's
rolled
right.
up. It's rolled up inside the mast.
That's right.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. And then to trim the sail, the whole mast rotates.
Mm-hmm.
The mast itself just rotates. So
Uh-huh.
it's crazy. So you have all this lever arm on this mast, but there's nothing supporting it. It's just I don't understand the physics of it.
It's
It's just
just the
crazy.
structure itself. It's the strength of the vertical structure itself. That's all. There's no.
Yeah, can you imagine how much that boat weighs?
Well,
And
can
it
you
can
imagine? I
and
mean, you got a heavy wind and you got all those sails up. Can you imagine how much force there is
right, that's
on
my
those
point. So
masts?
that boat, as big as that boat is, and I mean it's huge. They can go 30 knots under sail alone. 30 knots to push that boat. That's a lot of force that those sails are carrying,
No
and all that
kidding.
load. Yeah, all that load goes down to the insertion point because there's nothing else supporting those masts. I just don't understand it.
I guess the other
But
thing, judging the scale of those masts, the size of that structure,
yeah,
it must be much larger than it looks like in the picture as far as
Joe,
the
I
the,
sent a picture out
the cross
of
section
a
of the
man on.
of the mast to take that kind of a
I said,
load.
oh yeah, yeah, they're enormous. And they're all carbon fiber, by the way.
Oh, they are.
Yeah, I wonder how much that cost.
I don't even want to contemplate it.
Yeah, right.
Well, John, we've done about 45 minutes here in this segment. That's probably enough. You want to say anything else? You're coming back when now? Sometime early this week?
Yeah, yeah, this week for sure.
Okay. All right. We'll definitely see you when you get back.
Yeah, yeah,
Have a
for
safe
sure. Looking
trip. If
forward.
you need anything, give me a call.
All right, we'll do. Thanks, Joe.
Take care, John.
All right, we'll see you.